It's a case that has spanned 3 decades, left 5 families shattered, kept law enforcement busy looking for suspects, looking for clues, looking for the answers that would solve the Kentucky Fried Chicken murders. It was a frantic phone call made September 23, 1983, that had Kilgore police responding to the Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant.
It was around a few minutes after 10 a.m.
Your heart sank, didn't it?
It did.
Because you knew what you were going to see.
I knew what we were facing in.
One of the mysteries that will always be with us is how anyone would pick this point here to line up 4 people or 5 people or whatever, to execute them.
With each new twist in the case, the Tyler Morning Telegraph kept the coverage out front in hopes of generating new leads.
I'd say I'm gratified by the work our people have done. I've witnessed a lot of great professionals over the years really attaching and engaging in this story in the way that they should have. We had some coverage at one point where I think we ran one of the pictures, of the bodies laying on the ground, and we heard from the families. They were very upset, and I think they mistook our intent about that, and they said, it's time for our family members to rest. And from our side of it, I think we can't rest until the story is finished, and that's our responsibility. And so we want to be respectful of those people and the tragedies that occur in their lives. We need to believe that there still may be people out there who know this, and you never know when somebody's just going to have some episode that causes them to say, I've carried this long enough. It's been with me for 30 years, and it's time to come clean. And we may see that in a greater way than we've seen to this point.
We were determined to work that investigation, to run every lead down that we could, to document everything that we done. We were having weekly meetings in Kilgore and inviting all these agencies into Kilgore, feeding them everything, and we wasn't getting any cooperation. To be quite honest, I have yet to ever see an offense report for 5 homicides.
And it would be 20 some odd years before 2 cousins from Tyler would be convicted of those murders.
The sort of the focus was getting DNA samples from everybody we could think of, because we got DNA in this case in every conceivable way you can imagine. Some of them we just asked.
I feel that it was fabricated so the credit can be took for solving this crime. Yeah, I'm angry about it, and I'm upset, very upset. But for the same time, but I have to keep on living, and even in prison, I have to try to make the best of my situation and just keep on fighting for my innocence. And hopefully one day, I get out.
How do you think the families of Opie Hughes and David Maxwell and Joey Johnson, Mary Tyler, how do you think and Monty Landers, how do you think their families feel? And they've had to deal with this for 30 years also.
Well, I sympathize with them on a humanitarian level, but you got to understand that I'm an innocent man, and if they feel like they got this closure, then it's a false sense of this closure, in my mind, because I'm innocent.
Did you kill those 5 people from that KFC in Kilgore in 1983?
No, I didn't kill them 5 people. I'm innocent. I was framed to take this shit rap, and I would never kill people in a robbery,
I appreciate what George has done in this case, and Lisa and Missy and them, because I don't think that if Lisa and Missy had got involved with it, and George too, I don't think it would have
Don't think it would ever been solved?
Yes, I'm telling you.
You think it's people who actually cared?
Well, let me put it this way. They cared as much as I did.
When I first got the case, I didn't think there was any way in the world we'd ever get anywhere with it. And truthfully, in all candor, when we went to the grand jury in 2003, my thought process was, I'm just going to shake these trees up as hard as I can and maybe something will fall out. And maybe this will get better. Hopefully this will get better.
In this area right in here.
Okay.
I'd have to look at a picture to tell you. I know Joey Johnson was on this end.
And David Maxwell was on the far
on
end.
the other, and then
Monty Landers and
whether it
Mary
was Monty
Tyler.
and Mary, or Mary and Monty, I don't
Really
remember for sure.
Okay.
But I do know that Joey was on this end and David was on that end.
Okay.
And like I say, they're all face down, facing, you know, that way. And
Which is, to say the least, unusual.
very.
And of course you've told me, and we've got the pictures that show this, but all of them were laying like this, and kind of give me a reasoning why you think that was, that they had their hands on their arms.
Well, and this is my theory, but if we were to all lie down on the ground, expecting to get back up in a minute, we would put our face or our head on something
To keep it from being in the dirt.
Yeah, because we didn't
Right.
want our nose stuck in the dirt.
Right.
And, you know, I've always felt like that they were told, lie down, and they assumed they would get back up.
If you could talk to the victims right now, and what would you say to the David Maxwell, Opie Hughes, Mary Tyler, Monty Landers, and Joey Johnson?
I have no clue, because I can't imagine what the ride out here from Kilgore was like for them. And, you know, I wouldn't even venture to try to ask them, well, you know, were you scared? Was it exciting? Did you believe them when they said, well, we're just going to dump you out? Well, whatever the circumstances were. You know, it had to be a terrifying moment once they figured out that they weren't coming back.
For many authorities involved in the KFC murders, this is the defining case of their career.
It's, you know, I tell people, I'm like, KFC is my baby, you know, and it will always be my baby case, you know, as far as I, you know, when was it, in 03, I had a really, really good job opportunity. And I remember telling the lawyer, I can't leave. I've got this KFC case and I'm not leaving until I'm done with it.
There's nobody that really has won anything over this except for the justice part of the case. I know the families probably thought it would never be solved, never be prosecuted and on, but we're here. And we have 2 out of 3. And hope and pray that we find that third one.
You said earlier this case still haunts you.
Every day.
Think about it every day.
Every day I think about this case.
You wake up at night.
I wake up at night thinking about this case.
As law enforcement continues to be haunted by this case, the families affected have had to learn to deal with the tragedy more than 3 decades earlier.
I decided to go out to the graveyard, and I don't go very often, so it was just really hard. And I didn't know if I could say goodbye and not take him with me. And so I walked over there and I put that little red rose down, and I told him I'm sorry. I think I was sorry because I wanted to let go. I did want to be happy. And so I told him I loved him and I was proud of him, and he used to tell me he always wanted to be famous. And I said, well, honey, you were famous.
Though Hartsfield and Pinkerton have been convicted, uncertainty remains in the case, which remains open to this day, as questions continue to plague everyone involved. Who is the third person? And more importantly for many, why did this happen?